Hello, Booktube. We're continuing the library tour from HE Double Hockey Sticks. We are on bookcase number 2, and we have finally graduated to shelf number 2. So we're going to just press on. We are all mass market paperbacks. For, I don't even know, a good long time, there will be only mass market paperbacks in this library tour. So let's do the first one. We've seen this already. This I just recently found. This is The Skull Beneath the Skin by P.D. James in this old mass market form that has the gatefold cover there that were the bane of my existence when I was a bookseller. Then Elizabeth George, Deception on His Mind. This is, I believe, the only Elizabeth George that I have in these very solid, lovely old mass market paperbacks with the embossed covers and this artwork style. I loved this series. I love this series anyway, of course, but I love this series in this format in the U.S., and that's the only one I have. Then Elliot Patterson's The Skull Mantra, which I just recently found. I'd heard about it, of course. I finally read it. I thought it was a little bit heavy in the info dumping, but the info was pretty interesting. So, then Mickey Spillane. This is I, the Jury, in a paperback reprint for the 40th anniversary of this. I also had access at the Brattle Bookshop to the original paperback of this from 40 years before this one. I had it in my hand. I think it was just $2, but it would have fallen apart. It was a needless affectation to get the earlier paperback, especially since the vintage cover art was preserved for this one. I also had in my hand, there were 2 big, fat Avenel omnibus editions of Mickey Spillane at the Brattle, and I had those in my hand as well, and I, the Jury, was in one of those, and I thought, it's not worth it to have big 5-pound books of Mickey Spillane, of all people, so I just left them. I have this one. I have, I think, plenty on ebook. Then we have The Burglar Who Traded Ted Williams by Lawrence Block. I found this as a very battered paperback and fixed it up and liked it. We have a collection by John Ball, a mystery collection called The Mystery Story. Lots and lots of mysteries here because I love murder mysteries. I absolutely love them. There is a great BookTube event, March Mystery Madness, that celebrates murder mysteries, but I can't just segregate my reading of murder mysteries to March. So I have tons of them. Okay, then we have Jane Langton. This is Natural Enemy. These are her Homer and Homer Kelly murder mysteries, an academic. They've got her own artwork in them all throughout, which gets better and better as it goes along. Every book has better and better artwork. And they are wonderful. I have a few of them here. I don't have all of them. They all came out in these old green spine penguins. I once had a whole shelf full of these. Some of them rather gamefully signed, but they're gone. I have no idea what happened to those. I want to reestablish. I want to rebuy this whole collection in these little mass markets. But as of now, I just have 2 others. I have Dark Nantucket Noon, which, as you can tell from the title, is about Nantucket, and then The Thief of Venice, which is set in Venice and which is delightful. But I do not have, for instance, my favorite Homer Kelly mystery, which is the Dante game. I have 3 of these, and there are about 10 more that I need to find. The next time a whole collection shows up at the Brattle. Okay, then we have Freeman Wills Croft. I have kept reading this author. I have kept trying. I do not know why. I'm pretty sure I am done. This is the book that did it. This is Tragedy in the Hollow. And it may very well be the most boring book I have ever read in my life. So I gave it a try, but I don't think I will be trying this author again, even though there are 20 more books that I haven't read. They're meticulous police procedurals. They're meticulous police procedural mysteries. And the mystery is removed. And then the meticulousness takes over the whole thing. And suddenly, instead of getting a meticulous police procedural, you're just at work in the station house. It's a boring day and you want 5 o'clock to come along. But then we have Mr. Parker Pyne Detective by Agatha Christie with more artwork by this cover artist. I'll never be able to find the other examples that we've seen of this cover artist, but I love this art. This kind of collage-y artwork. I wonder if this one credits the art. No. Well, I think these old Dell paperbacks are fantastic. This is one of the only Agatha Christie novels that I have in an actual print and paper format, and I got it for the cover. But I really enjoyed it. I don't really understand why Parker Pyne doesn't get a little bit more love from the popular world. They embrace Christie's other two main sleuths, but not this one. And the stories in here are, I thought, quite good. Then we have Reginald Hill. I believe this might be my only Reginald Hill in paperback. This is Pictures of Perfection, a D.L. and Pasco mystery. These also came out in rather distinctive paperback livery once upon a time. I had all of these once upon a time. I have them all in ebook, but I don't know what happened to the paperbacks of these things. I must have got rid of them at one point or another. They're really, really good. They're really, really good. Then we have, let's see here, two of John Creasy's Toff novels. Again, with brilliant cover artwork. I think this is Leave It to the Toff. I believe that's the same cover artist. This one is clearly different. A knife for the Toff. There were, I think, about 1,000 of these adventures of the Toff. They're tiny. I don't know anything about John Creasy. I bet John Creasy's never had an author biography that was printed in America. He was insanely prolific, and I have heard rumors that his speed of composition was the same or equivalent to the legendary speeds of composition of some old pulp science fiction authors. And I don't doubt it at all when you read these things. They are absolute candy. I don't doubt at all that once you've got the mechanics down, he could write one of these things in a day, and it would sell. It would sell. So it was extremely high ROI. These are very enjoyable even now. These paperbacks are very old. Let's see. Okay, this is Shari Randall. This is her Lobster Shack series of murder mysteries. This is drawn and buttered. This is the only one that I have at the moment. I would love to find more of these. I once had them all. I used to get them from the publisher. This one features a gigantic lobster named Lobzilla. But these are cozy mysteries. Anytime there's a shack or a restaurant or a bookstore or a tea shop, it's always a cozy mystery. And I've mentioned a couple of times that I'm not 100% on the same wavelength as cozy mysteries, but I'm getting there. These certainly help. These certainly help. There's another series, not this one. There's another series set in a Chinese restaurant that also help a lot. Okay, then there's Gavin Black wrote a Joan Kahn novel of suspense. So this isn't a mystery, maybe. This is A Wind of Death. I'm sure I only got this because it's the same cover artist, whoever this cover artist is, that does these collage-y things where you get the knife and the gun and the syringe and the photograph and whatnot. And the smudgy background, the artistically smudgy background. There's an art term for that. Whoever it is, I'm sure that I got this for that. I'm sure that it was $1 and I thought, well, if I'm going to buy one of these things. Okay, then we have Mary Roberts Reinhardt, the great Mary Roberts Reinhardt. This is perhaps her most famous, one of her two most famous murders. This is The Man in Lower 10. In an old mass market paperback, I remember when this whole series came out, really enjoyed the cover art, the cover setting, especially the way the artwork is inset on the cover. But I recently I have Mary Roberts Reinhardt in ebooks, I'm pretty sure. But I also recently got the form that I really want, which is a big, fat, hardcover omnibus edition. The only other Mary Roberts Reinhardt that I would want to get would be all the minor works, because I love this author. So all not the major ones, not The Man in Lower 10, not The Spiral Staircase, but all the minor stuff. Okay, then we have Georgette Heyer. This is Detection Unlimited, the author of innumerable wonderful Regency romances. Also wrote detective stories that are quite good. They are quite enjoyable. A little on the procedural side, but this is Detection Unlimited, and I'm pretty sure that the icing on the cake was this cover artist again. See what I mean with the stylistically blurred background there, and the individual items that are of interest? None of those are germane to this particular story. It's just a great picture. That's all. I would have got it anyway because I love these murder mysteries, but I'm pretty sure that was an added bonus. Okay, then we have No Wind of Blame in this old cover, where there's a dead man, and oh my God, they've both found it. Of course, I look at this cover. This cover is from the 1960s, 1971. The book is from 1940, but the cover is from 1971. I look at this cover, and my first thought is, well, ask him what happened. He can tell you how long this body's been dead. He can tell you the size and the sex of the person who was last at the body. he can tell you everything about the stomach contents. So even now, just from the gases coming off the rectum, just ask him. He's right there next to you. Ask him all the questions that you want to know about this dead body. But of course, that's not how it works. Dr. Doolittle does not solve crimes. Okay, then we have Ruth Rendell. I believe this is my only Ruth Rendell paperback. This is a demon in my view. She is so good. She is so good. I'm so glad that I got back in the reviewing game in time to review a Ruth Rendell novel. Just wonderful. If I had these old paperbacks, I would take them all. I would get them all. I'm sure they will turn up. Then Mary Roberts Reinhardt. I said that the only other paperbacks of her work that I would want would be the minor works, but that's not true. If I can find old, wonderfully vintage paperbacks of all of her stuff, I would grab it in a heartbeat. And these old pocket editions, this is the album, wonderfully atmospheric, wonderfully cumulative. This one just builds so intelligently to the ending. Maybe shave a point off here or there, because the only way that you can build intelligent to an ending usually is if it's obvious what the ending will be, and some mystery readers don't like that. But these old pocket paperbacks, you wouldn't think so, but they hold up like crazy, just like crazy. They've got the heavier cardstock for the cover. They've got a much stronger binding. This pocketbook came out in 1941. I read it when I first got it. I first found this last summer, and I read it then and barely scratched it. I could easily give it 2 or 3 more reads. Okay, then we have Libby Block. This is an old Dell murder mystery, Bedeviled, where she's watching the pianist off stage, but her shadow is the devil. This is just a tiny little thing. I gobbled it up for March Mystery Madness last year, I believe. There's not much to it. Not much at all. It was a little bit interesting. Definitely. It's with little paperbacks like this, literally little things like this. These are the ones that they are such a world away from Elizabeth George or Ruth Rendell. They're just such a world away from them. These are the type where you are just reading it on a train. And when the train ride is over, you're just going to leave it on your seat. You're not gonna take it with you. You wouldn't dream of adding this to your collection. Although here it is in mine. Let's see here. What is next? These are wedged in. Okay, we've got Michael Innes. This is Money from Home in a Penguin orange spine mass market paperback. But then a lot of these others are not. A lot of these others are things that I actually look for when I'm looking for secondhand mysteries. I look for the old Penguin crime novels with the green and white spines, because whoever was involved there, I find that they are generally really good. This is Michael Innes again. This is Lord Mullion's Secret. We're getting there. This is not quite the spine that I look for, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. That right there, Penguin Books in this setup. This is Tenet for Death by Cyril Hare. This one, is admittedly beaten up, but a lot of the ones that I find are not, and they have been a surprisingly strong ROI. They've been surprisingly strong. I very seldom encounter one of these that isn't good. Michael Innes, hair sitting up. These things are also quite durable. They can usually take a strain. We have Robert Robinson, Landscape with Dead Dawns. I actually read this one, and it manages to get more boring as it goes along, not less, which is kind of a feat when you're looking for a killer. We have Edmund Crispin, The Long Divorce. Some of these have schmutz on them that's just baked right in. God only knows the life story of this book. I swear, with old paperbacks like this, I would rather, I think, if it were possible, I would rather have the book tell me its story than tell me the story that's inside its pages. I would rather, if I had to sit down and just listen to 2 hours of one thing in my ear, I would rather it not be The Long Divorce, but rather, where were you made? Where were you sold when you were brand new? Who bought you? Did they read you quickly? Did they read you lovingly? Were you at an armchair in a living room? Were you at sea? You at war? Were you in an attic for a long time? Do you remember people coming up to neck or to drink, but never picking up you, and then finally somebody does pick you up, the box or the crate that you're in, and put you on a table in the sun, sold somewhere? Eventually you end up with me, and I'm not quite egotistical enough to think that I'm the end of the line. Of course, I'm not. All these things will move on from me. But I am loving them. Even the ones that I'm criticizing here on camera, they're at least coming to an affection at home, most of them. Okay, then we have Robert Clare, Let Us Talk of Graves, of Worms, and Epitaphs. I'm not a big fan of photographic covers, just at all. And I haven't got to this yet. There are a few of these little mass market murders that I haven't got to. Oh my god. Okay, well, I got to this one. This is Freeman Wills Croft. The one drawback of this Penguin Crime livery. This is the chain mystery, and it was god-awful. It was just god-awful. It didn't come down to an analysis of handwriting. It came down to an analysis of a couple of letters at great length. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes, I understand Inspector French is dogged. I understand. I get that. He isn't a high flyer like for instance, the detective in this book. He isn't a high flyer. He isn't charismatic. He doesn't have a way with the ladies. And when he gets a little piece of inconsistency in the evidence, a tiny little inconsistency, he worries it endlessly. And usually it ends up solving the crime. It usually gets him his man. I understand there is an appeal in that, but it's for anecdotes at the bar when you retire. It's not for a novel. Okay, then we have a classic, Edmund Crispin, The Moving Toy Shop. Have not found this to be as revisitable as people say that it is. I'll take a Georgette Heyer any day for revisiting. Then we have Edmund Crispin, Buried for Pleasure. And this was pretty good. This was, for a thin book, this was pretty substantial. This is a very substantial author. Okay, another copy of The Moving Toy Shop. I don't need two copies of this. This is obviously the better cover, so I'll have to deal with that. That's one of the nice things about a library tour is that you're putting your hand on every single book. So in my case, if you have a lot of books, you can start to develop a pile of discards, which is good because it frees up room. Okay, then Edward Grierson. This is called Reputation for a Song. I don't think that was its original title. Is that right? What was this originally called? Is it going to tell me? First published in 1952. Penguin Books published it in 1955, and I believe they changed the name of it. Are you going to tell me? Let's see here. He has devoted himself to lecturing and writing. Reputation for a Song, published in 1952, was a Book Society choice and a Daily Mail Book of the Month. Okay, well, maybe it was just called this. This was remarkably good and also weird. I mean, yes, there's a crime in it, and the ending just the ending is coming. You know exactly what's going to happen, but nevertheless, it just hits you like a brick because then it does happen, and there aren't any twists and turns, and the book is just over. So long, see ya. But the psychological drama between then and now, it's beautifully written, and the psychological stuff is what will stick with you, not the crime or the solving of the crime. Even I hesitate even to mention them in connection with this book. It was a weird thing. It made me. I read this when last year, 2021, and it made me make a mental note to find more books by this author. Not because I like how clever he is with murder mysteries, but because I like what kind of a writer he is. And of course, that mental note got stuck in the jumble where all the other mental notes go. Okay, then we have also in this line Marjorie Allingham. I found a bunch of these just in new condition, and I just grabbed them all because she is one of my favorite murder mystery writers. And to have them all in this format, we have Fashion in Shrouds, which I love. We have Coroner's Pigeon, which may be my favorite of her mysteries. We have Hide My Eyes, a little weak in the ending, a little bit forced in the ending. The Beckoning Lady, and Take Two at Bedtime, which was pretty slight, but it is pretty funny. There are some scenes that are well done for dry humor. Then we have Mignon Eberhardt. This is a book that I've talked about on this channel. This is Murder by an Aristocrat. This is in the old Penguin crime novel. I think I have another copy of this with an actual cover illustration, and I have all of Mignon Eberhardt as ebooks. She takes a little bit of getting used to. These two are not the same. They seem it on the surface, aside from the different locales of their mysteries, but I guess maybe I'm just trying to say she's not one of my favorites. I like her just fine, but she's not one of my favorites. Okay, then we have Robert Barnard. He is odd. He's playing his own game when it comes to murder mysteries. This is The Bad Samaritan, and he did also The Death of an Old Goat, which is just wonderful. And I always criticize cozy murder mysteries because in order for the murder to be just a kind of social game rather than a tragedy, everyone has to hate the dead person. And that always struck me as a little bit callous. Murder mysteries are callous anyway, but that's even worse. But in The Death of an Old Goat, that is celebrated. And here, this is also far more subtle, would be the word I would use. Could this be the same artist? I think it might be in later years. I mean, are these two the same artist? Surely they are. No? Anyway. Again, more subtlety. Like the Grissom, more subtlety than just the fireworks of a murder mystery. Okay, then we have Colin Willick, Death in Cover. I have not read this. I snapped it up. I always snap these things up for March Mystery Madness. Okay, Michael Innes again. This is There Came Both Mist and Snow. This was terrific. Sharp and hard. A hard book, but not hard to read. But there are no nice people in here. Even the two nice people, the one marquee nice person in here is such a sap that the niceness it doesn't work in the positive credit. I really enjoyed it though. Okay, all right. We have Freeman Wills Croft again. This is Crime at Guildford. This also was, I think, or not also, because the other one we determined was not. I believe this was retitled. I'll never be able to find it though. Let's see if it'll say in the publication material. No. Well, anyway, this should have been called the Norns case. If anything, the Norns case. But no, instead, it's a bunch of financiers meet at a country house to discuss their ailing business. One of them ends up dead, and you've just got to figure out who it is. And it could have been interesting, but instead, you're fiddling around with fairy tables and forged signatures, and none of it is interesting. I mean, there's a bit of a movement at the end of the book, a bit of a, I guess you could call it a chase. The end is never in doubt, but let's just move on. We have Christopher Bush, The Case of the Tudor Queen. Despite the title, I have not got to this, but these things are amazing. This thing is, how old is this? Penguin publishes this in 1953. That's a long time ago. This is a 70-year-old paperback, and it's still working fine when no one expected that these things would still be read in 70 years. Oh, God. Okay, all right. Well, we're sooner or later going to run out of these. I feel this is another Freeman Wills Croft. This is Golden Ashes, which I have not read, and I don't foresee myself reading it. I got all of these because I felt guilty. This guy had a huge reputation. It was a steady seller in his day. And I can't for the life of me figure out why. And whenever that happens, I always feel like it must be me. Despite being a critic, I always feel like if it's an older work and people have loved it, and it's just not only not doing anything for me, but self-evidently boring, then it must be me. The problem must be me. So I kept giving him a try. But that's kind of Stockholm Syndrome. I don't think I'll continue with that. Then we have Jeffrey Household. I didn't know anything about this author when I first got this book. I was told by a lot of you that he was once upon a time famous, and also that this is his most famous book. This is Rogue Male. I haven't got to it yet in any detail. I read a few pages in sort of excess of caution because Freeman Wills Croft has made me gun-shy, but I think that I will like this author. Probably I will read him this summer, especially now that all these things are coming to the light of day. Then we have John and Emery Bonnet. This is Dead Lion. Husband and wife team, I believe. Yeah, husband and wife team. They met while working in the offices of a publication about the Spanish Civil War. Well, I got this. It's still in good enough shape to read, but I haven't read it. Oh, great. Okay. Then we have a few of these Earl Stanley Gardner books that I have all of these, but I get them whenever I can. Duplicates of any kind of welcome. These are old pocket paperbacks, these little pocket paperbacks. So they're going to hold up well. But I know I'm supposed to love his marquee character, but I don't. I love his DA novels. This is the DA holds a candle with this great old cover. Then the DA cooks a goose. The DA draws a circle. Notice these are all different cover designs. And finally, the DA goes to trial. So I do not have a paperback of the first and best one, I think, which is the DA Calls It Murder. But I'm happy to grab these things when I see them because the DA books are wonderful. I just love them. Okay, then we have Niall Marsh, with two of Niall Marsh. One is Hand in Glove. that I just grabbed, I'm sure because it was $1. And then the other one is Enter a Murderer, and I grabbed it because I love Niall Marsh, but I also grabbed it because it has this cover artist. Whoever this cover artist I just love. We've seen 2 cover artists that I really, really love here, 2 different ones. Okay, then we have 2 copies of John Maddox Roberts' SPQR. 2 of these. This came out in 1990. Is that right? Yeah, 1990. And these are a series of murder mysteries set in ancient Rome, set in the Rome of the very earliest years of the changeover from the Republic to the Empire of Augustus. A changeover that our main character, who's writing these things as a memoir in his old age, these are when he was a young man, but he's remembering them. He's looking back on them, and he doesn't like that change. He doesn't like our revered first citizen. And SPQR is the name, I think, of the whole series, but when it was packaged in this mass market paperback in 1990, it was given this title. That is, as you can tell from the cover design here, the inscription that was put on official monuments, the Senate and the people of Rome. So it doesn't tell you much about the murder. All the other titles that this series were given in America before it was suspended in America are much better than this one. But the book is terrific. Oh my, just wonderful. The only problem I have with the Metellus mysteries is that his motivation for solving crimes is never all that clear at any point along the line. It's as weak as a reed in the early novels, and then we follow him in the course of the books. We follow him; they're wonderful. The whole series is wonderful. And we follow him through the Cursus Honorum. We follow him as he's from a noble family. We watch him advance in his career. As he gets more advanced in his career, his motivation should vanish completely, and it doesn't. He keeps solving crimes. Okay, then we have Catherine Aird. She is wonderful. Oh my God, cannot praise her highly enough. And I have, I think, all of them. I'm pretty sure. A Late Phoenix, Henrietta Who, all with these designs. She's had a million designs, but these are my favorites. This Passing Strange, look at that. A Most Contagious Game, Silent Morning, which is terrific, absolutely terrific. Another copy of Silent Morning. Stately Home Murder, a different cover artist. Parting Breath, a little bit labored, but I still really liked it. Last Respects, which I think might be my favorite one, and Some Die Eloquent, which is also excellent. These are just amazing. This author is amazing. She's not well enough known, and I don't think ever reprinted, but I still love her. Okay, and then we can finish up good, because this has been a while. We should finish up with Phoebe Atwood-Taylor, who did the A.Z. Mayo mysteries. These are set on Cape Cod. They are an old-timey Cape Cod. He's an old-timey Cape Cod handyman and a little bit of a man of mystery. A man of all parts. If you have a problem, he doesn't have any official standing. He's not part of the police. But if you have a problem in the village or at your hotel, you want to get A.Z. Mayo involved because he sees through planks of wood. He understands motivations better. He's seen the world. And he is the star of a whole series by Phoebe Atwood-Taylor, and they are wonderful. I love them. Unfortunately, they came out, I've shown you these already, they came out from Foul Play Press in these volumes with aggressively ugly covers. Just look at how ugly these things are. Cape Cod Mystery. Here's a trio of short stories. The covers are another copy of Amulet of Guilt. These are just ugly. Really, really ugly. The Banbury Bog, but they're such good novels. Sandbar Sinister. Look at that, though. That's ugly. Really, really bad. And then Spring Harrowing. And it's not just the covers that are bad with these foul play press books. It's also the books themselves are really, really weakly made. The back front cover and the spine will pop off from the text block in one reading. Without any trouble at all, they will. They are a lot like these things, these old Judge D mysteries, in that it's a very attractive design. The Judge D mysteries have the advantage, in addition to an attractive design, of attractive cover art. Whereas these A.Z. Mayo mysteries do not. They have ugly cover art, but it's an attractive, eye-catching design. But and they're by far the most common to find in used bookstores. So I have some of them, but they don't hold up well. So when I found a couple of older Phoebe Atwood-Taylors from, is this Dell? Pyramid did Figure Away in an older mass market paperback. This is much older than those, but it's going to hold up much better. And Six Iron Spiders. When I found these two, I grabbed them, and I would grab others as well, just to flesh them out. Because Phoebe Atwood Taylor, the A.Z. Mayer mysteries are not all that readily available in ebook. But anyway, that is our next shelf. That was a bit long, on the long side, but we're done with murder mysteries, I think. So I'll wrap this up for now, and then somehow find a way to get up off the floor. But I'll be back. Thank you.